how did you start the process? Like, where did you go to YouTube, how to sell an Amazon business? Maybe how people found this video, I'm hoping, or maybe did you ask someone? Did you hear a webinar? How did you like get to a stage like, okay, now I need to do something? And what did you do?
Yeah, so to be honest, from the beginning, I built my business so it will be sellable. I don't know where I heard that or why I did it, to be honest, but I kind of built everything to be ready to do that. Even I thought, at least I thought that I'm building it to be ready to be sold. After I started the process, I see that, yeah, I did a lot of great things that other sellers didn't do from the beginning, but still I had a lot of work to do. I was actually exposed to the idea of selling through a post on Facebook of a company. That's before all the buzz kind of started. But for that company, that what they do is they buy equity. They buy not full 100% of your brand, and you are staying as an operator with equity. And basically the idea really kind of was grabbing my attention because I believed in my business. It didn't really reach the peak of it, and I thought that that's really great idea for me. If I can sell 50% or 40% or 60%, I didn't even care about having control in the business while cashing and securing some money. That was the best idea because, again, I believed in the business, but it didn't reach the peak. I thought that, with the right amount of money and a buyer that would buy half of it, we can grow it even more. And from my end, I can relieve that stress and fear that I had because I can secure some, money and earnings that I did in that business. So this process didn't really went through. It fall in the middle. This company, they bought few businesses and in this kind of structure, but it didn't work with me. But this opened me to the idea of, and then I actually got a message from one of the aggregators that they wanted to buy me. And I said, you know what? Yeah, sure, why not? I sent them my P&L, I gave them access to my Amazon, and then bam, they send me an LOI, which is letter of intent, which is an official letter that shows that they want to buy your business with simple terms and the amount of money. And that's actually really opened my eyes because that was I think it was for $1 million or 1.1. And then I said, wow, it's like kind of tangible. It's real. When this offer came through, I talked with a good friend of mine. You know her, Sharon Even, same last name as you.
Yeah.
And she actually introduced me to the broker that did the transaction on my sale. They looked at the numbers, and I kind of asked them for their opinion, and they mentioned that, obviously it's your decision, but we think that you could get much more if you just wait a little more and you kind of organize your business in a better structure that could maximize the selling price.
The broker that you worked with, can you mention them? Is it okay? Because let's say,
of course, their name is Fortunet. And like you said at the beginning of the video, if you're planning to sell, reach out to me and I can introduce you to them, and then you will get a much better commission rate or a deal, because they are not really a broker. They're called investment banking. Basically, what they do is they are on your favor. They really making sure that you maximize the exit and the sell price that you get, and they take money from you. They don't take money from the buyer, and that's really eliminate the conflict of interest that a lot of brokers have, because sometimes if their buyer interest is in place or the deal is in really what matters for them, they can actually really not get you the best deal. They really were on my side, and it wasn't cheap, but I think that I could never really sell it by my own, or never by my own could get that price that I sold it for. So even though I paid a good amount of or chunk of money for the fees for the transaction, I think it was worth it 100%, and I couldn't do it without them. So their name is Fortunet. It turned out to be true. They're kind of advice to me to wait a little longer and to structure it and to build it to be more ready for sale.
Yeah, we'll leave in the description the link to Fortunet, so people can go and watch. I also have a video with Yael Kabily, who is one of the founders of Fortunet, so I'll leave it in the description too. There we kind of Yael answered some questions about the process of selling or buying a business, so that can be also useful. So can you tell us about the process in your case? So you did through Sharon. We can leave her channel as well in the description for people to learn from Sharon. She also has YouTube channel, and we're gonna leave Tomer's YouTube channel, so there's gonna be a lot of useful links. But once Sharon introduced you to Fortunet and I believe Yael, what happened then? Like, how the process went? Did you also send them profit and loss statement? I'm curious, how did it go from there?
Yeah, so basically we signed an agreement, of course, and after that we started to work on the numbers, and that's the most important thing, to understand where you are. And when you understand when you are, it's really helping you to focus on the key metrics that buyers are looking for, which is the SDE. And SDE, it's the number that, it's kind of your profits, but you add to them certain expenses that are not really related to the business. It could be education, it could be travel, it could be a lot of expenses that in a normal P&L, it will show as an expense, but it's actually expense that you put that is related to the owner. So what they are trying to do is trying to show the real profit of the business without the personal expenses, maybe not personal expenses, but expenses related to the solopreneur. So we cleaned the numbers and we made everything accurate. They asked me for a lot of things like the cost of goods, invoices from freight forwarders, and we kind of cleaned all the data, and then we built a plan of action. And this plan of action was planned toward showing more profits. So I had maybe 5 or 6 more products in the pipeline to launch, and we kind of paused these plans because launching new products eating your profit. If you don't know, when you launch Amazon, new product on Amazon, usually at the beginning you lose money in order to make money later. So that doesn't really reflect in the P&L. P&L doesn't really know that you launched product or not. It just showed the bottom line. So we kind of pause those new launches, and we try to focus on even eliminating products that maybe were in the launch phase but didn't have good metrics. We didn't really push it. Maybe if you don't sell your business, you would keep pushing and wait more or have more patience, but here we didn't, and we kind of try to focus only on what produce profit, while also keep having ideas in the pipeline, so a buyer can come and say, we can show them, look, but we also have those ideas in mind. We also have these products that we're thinking of launching, so they see that there is a future for your brand.
All right, so you're saying you gotta, once you're starting to kind of go towards that exit, you are trying to show most profits.
Yeah, because the multiple usually goes by the profit. So let's say you make 100,000 profit a year. Usually it's like for 3 or 4x. In my case, it was 4.2 upfront, and then I was supposed to get a little more after a year. I was very close to get another one, but it didn't work out. But I was happy with 4.2. Yeah. And basically it's 4.2x your yearly profits, or the SDE. So it could be 400,000 if you made 100, or whatever the amount that you made, or multiple it by that number. Today the numbers they went down. So basically, yeah, every extra dollar that you make would be 4.2 more dollars. So every 100,000 you show, which would be another 420,000. So it really makes a lot of difference.
And I understand that Fortunet, the guys, they kind of guided you to, like, because even as an experienced seller, maybe you didn't know that. Maybe you did know in a way, but like you were still launching products, and they told you like, wait, Tomer, like maybe like if you're actually exiting now, like it's not good. So they gave you some tips which were useful because they are professionals. They kind of want to get the best for you, if I understand right, as the seller, of course, for the buyer of the business. Okay, so you got these things ready. So you started working on your business, I guess, in order to eliminate these products. You stopped maybe the launches. Took you probably a while to get things in order. And then probably, and correct me if I'm wrong, probably you did another check with the guys. And what happened from there when the business was kind of ready to sell based on Fortunet and yourself and maybe the buyer? What happened next? Like, how do you sell it? Like, how do you give it to someone? Like, did they take your password and email?
Yeah, I'll explain you how it works. But before we continue with that, you touched on a really important point. We are an Amazon seller, but we don't have, all of us, some of us, yes, but I didn't have a lot of experience with selling businesses. So they have that experience, they have that knowledge. So they guided me, and it was a 1 year process. Oh, wow. I had time, and also they suggested that I wait a year after I showed them the LOI. They said, wait a year if you can, and you can maximize. So we had a long enough time to really plan it. So we had monthly calls, and we will kind of plan that. And yes, they came and tell me, look, maybe this product, get rid of it, maybe this, focus more, maybe show more profit. So it was kind of fine tuning it throughout that year. After that year, we just went to market. They have like a little, just like a letter of sale. I forgot the actual term that it's called, but it's a long PDF. I think it's like 40 or 50 pages showing what your business is, giving some data to buyers. Not all data, of course, but it shares like, you know, some slides, some of your products, and they send it to all their buyers, usually aggregators. But they also have some private equities buyers and stuff like that. And then after that, you start jumping on calls with, you know, people that are interested, buyers that are interested. And it's a very tiring process of, you know, answering the same kind of questions, back and forth, a call after a call. If you're lucky, to be honest, we didn't get a lot of calls as were expecting. Even those calls were kind of long and not easy to deal with. And then after we had a buyer that was showing like really strong interest and also we got few LOIs also after that process. But the best LOI that we got, we wanted to proceed. So we had also questions to them, and it was a process after agreeing. It was actually a long process. After you sign the LOI, there is a process that is called the due diligence from the buyer, and they're going through checking every aspect of your business. You have to provide them a lot of documents, and this is very stressful to a lot of sellers. I was prepared by Fortunet that it's going to be a very tiring process, but to be honest, it wasn't that crazy for me because I just broke it down into little pieces and gave it priority, and whatever they asked me, I tried to give it as soon as possible. And then the process itself, after signing and selling, it goes to an escrow account because it's a big amount. So escrow basically means that it sits in an account that no one can really touch it, not the buyer or the seller, unless both agree. I mean, unless the terms of the sale are met. So from my end, I transfer them all the assets, and when they approve it, the money goes to me. And basically you start giving them accesses. You transfer the domain name, you transfer if you have social media accounts, and then finally you change the password to, it's a process on how you change the bank account, you change the credit card, and then you transfer the account itself.
Interesting, man. And then the money hits your bank account, right? Or wherever they agreed to send it to. Probably it's a bank account, right? Your bank account or PayPal. I don't know, like something like that, probably. Then again, based on how you probably agreed on, like maybe it's once a month, some sum, a big chunk of money, or maybe some amount after 6 months, some amount now, right? It's up to the buyer and the seller to agree for these things, right?
Yeah, it's part of the selling agreement. And in my case, it was one payment and then also another payment for the inventory. That was after 3 months. They wanted to check and count everything. So that was 3 months after. And yeah, it goes directly to your bank account for security. In my process, it was really smooth. It was very easy process as far as the transaction itself.
Yeah, I'm gonna again leave all the links. Sourcing Monster, your YouTube channel, Sharon Evans that we mentioned, her YouTube channel, Fortunet. And again, for those who are interested in selling or buying a business, right? Fortunet can also help people buy businesses, right? Not only sell, if I understand, or they're mainly helping people sell businesses.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that, if you're a buyer and you come to them,
because they have buyers, right?
They have a buyers list. Yeah, they basically can connect you with a business. I'm pretty sure they're focused only on Amazon sellers, but maybe they expanded and they also do some Shopify stores as well. But they're mainly focused on Amazon sellers and businesses.